Good morning and welcome to Lord of Life. Today is July 19th, 2021. I'm Rob Henderson, and I'm glad you're joining us for this daily devotion. Yesterday morning, as I was preparing for our late worship service, something unusual happened, something that hasn't happened often in the last 16 months. I had to pass through a crowd of people in the gathering space. As I reached the door to the sanctuary, Mary reached the door at the same time. We greeted one another warmly, and then she took my arm and said, "Pastor, is something special happening this morning that I didn't know about?" I said, "Not that I know of, Mary. Why?" And she said, "There's just so much excitement, so much energy here this morning." And I paused and looked around, and she was absolutely right. Groups of folks were visiting in the gathering space. Laughter filled the air. And in the sanctuary, people were touching base with one another, greeting one another as we prepared to worship together. The atmosphere was truly festive. And as I thought about Mary's question, is something special happening today that I didn't know about, I realized the answer is yes, absolutely. Our worship attendance yesterday was the largest in the last 16 months, the largest since March of 2020. We are blessed each week as we welcome more and more folks back. Each week, a few more familiar faces join the congregation as we lift our voices in song, as we celebrate God's blessings among us, as we open God's holy word and pray for God's presence with so many going through so much. So, for you, whenever you are ready to come back, we are ready to welcome you back. Psalm 100 says it best. "Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come into God's presence with singing. Know that the Lord is God. It is God who made us, and we are God's people, the sheep of God's pasture. Enter God's gates with thanksgiving and the courts with praise. Give thanks to God. Bless God's holy name, for the Lord is good. God's steadfast love endures forever, and God's faithfulness to all generations." Psalm 100 ends with a word of grace, hesed in the Hebrew. God's steadfast love, God's ever-flowing love, God's unconditional love. We experience that when we worship together. We're ready, when you are, to make a joyful noise together. Our 8:15 service will return in just 2 weeks on August 1st. We will have 3 worship services again at 8:15, our blended worship at 9:31, our contemporary worship, and at 10:45, our traditional worship. I want to thank you for joining us this morning for this daily devotion. I invite you to join us each morning at 11:30, and I pray you have a wonderful week.